As those colder months begin to descend upon us, the winter wilderness becomes an enigmatic canvas where chilling mysteries intertwine with snug tales by the fire. Gather closely for a medley of spine-tingling experiences whispered by those who have wandered through the gauntlet of high strangeness. From shadowy figures in the woods to hushed whispers on the howling winds, these first-hand encounters will transport you to a world where the mystical and the macabre collide. So here you go. Story 1. Well, I never thought a simple trip to a rest area would forever haunt me. It was just another ordinary day when I stopped at an old rest area in Wyoming with my loyal companion Mickey. As I opened the car door, Mickey excitedly jumped out and wagged his tail, leaping around us as if he had stumbled upon a gold mine of sense. I let him explore for a few moments, but as I turned around to leash him, he vanished into thin air. Panic surged through my veins as I frantically searched the area, calling his name repeatedly, but there was no trace of him. Days turned into weeks, and the once vivacious rest area transformed into a foreboding place in my mind. I mourned the loss of Mickey, accepting the cruel reality that he was gone forever. Then, one evening, something inexplicable occurred. As I sat in my living room, a scratching noise emerged from the front door. Reluctantly, I opened it, praying to see my beloved pet standing there, and there he was. Mickey, in perfect condition, as if nothing had happened. He traveled over 700 miles to get here, and you wouldn't even know it. But deep down, I could feel a gnawing unease. Though physically unharmed, Mickey's behavior had drastically changed. He no longer wagged his tail in excitement or showered me with his customary affection. Instead, he stared at me with startling intensity, his eyes a chilling shade of icy blue. His once cheerful demeanor had transformed into an unsettling calmness. It was as if his essence had been replaced by something unfamiliar, something sinister lurking beneath the surface. Well, my heart sank, and I couldn't shake the distinct feeling that this was not the same dog I had known and loved for years. Night after night, I found myself haunted by Mickey's unsettling transformation. His once melodic bark had turned into a low, guttural growl that would send shivers down my spine. Suspicion clouded my mind, as I couldn't help but wonder what had transpired during the time he had vanished. Had he encountered something malevolent in that rest area? Did he bring it back with him? Amidst the eerie silence of our home, I couldn't escape the feeling that Mickey's return had brought something sinister into our lives. We eventually took Mickey to the vet for examination. Other than the odd behavior, he was given a clean bill of health. This was last October, and since then, well, not much has changed. In a way, it feels as though Mickey is still gone, yet replaced by something else entirely. I still don't know how to process it, but sharing this story with your listeners has been somewhat therapeutic for me. So thank you, Rusty, and happy holidays. Story 2. I woke up early that cold December morning, eager to go on an adventure with my partner Sarah. We had heard rumors about an abandoned bike trail hidden deep in the California woods, and we couldn't resist the chance to explore it. As we arrived at the trailhead, the temperature dropped significantly. Ignoring the discomfort, we began to follow the overgrown path. As we walked deeper into the woods, the silence became deafening. Not a single chirp or rustle of the leaves could be heard. The only sound that resonated was the distant hum of a foreboding wind. It felt as though the entire forest was holding its breath. Unease settled in my gut, but I pushed it aside, determined to revel in the adventure. As we continued, the dense trees overhead formed a canopy, obscuring the morning sunlight. Shadows danced ominously among the trunks, adding to our trepidation. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of movement among the trees. I turned quickly, but there was nothing there. I whispered to Sarah, "Did you see that?" She nodded, her face pale, and voice barely audible. We quickened our pace, feeling the weight of unseen eyes following our every move. Suddenly, a bone-chilling howl echoed throughout the forest, freezing us in our tracks. The hair on the back of our necks stood up, and panic welled within. We instinctively knew we were being hunted, but there was no way of knowing by what. Fear consumed us, propelling us forward in a frenzied rush. It felt as though the woods themselves were closing in on us, trapping us in this haunting nightmare. Gasping for breath, we finally burst out of the tree line onto the safety of a nearby road. We glanced back but saw nothing. It was as if the terror had dissolved as quickly as it began, leaving us dazed and bewildered. We vowed never to speak of that trail again, as if uttering that name would invite us back into the darkness that lurked within. From that day forward, we never doubted the existence of what dwelled among the trees, forever haunted by the memories of that cold December morning in California. Story 3. As a park ranger who's worked for the National Park Service for over 25 years, I had grown accustomed to the solitude and quiet of the Oregonian wilderness. It was a cold, wintry evening when I found myself as the last one to leave the ranger station, just as the ominous storm clouds started to roll in. The station sat nestled deep in the heart of Ponderosa Pine Forest, surrounded by towering trees and an eerie silence. As I prepared to lock up for the night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Outside, the wind howled through the trees, causing the branches to creak in protest. The temperatures dropped rapidly, and a thick fog began to envelop the area, reducing visibility to almost nothing. As I made my way to the rig, I heard some strange rustling sounds coming from the darkness. I turned on my flashlight and scanned the perimeter, but all I could see were shadows dancing in the quickly fading light. With a shiver down my spine, I quickly unlocked the car and jumped in, eager to escape the unsettling atmosphere. But as I turned the key in the ignition, I caught a glimpse of a figure standing beneath the tree. Its eyes glowing with an unearthly red color. Its presence exuded inexplicable malevolence, and I could feel its gaze burning through me. As I sped away from the ranger station, panic and fear consumed me. What had I just witnessed? The storm intensified, unleashing its fury upon the land, but my mind was consumed with thoughts of that haunting figure. Was it a trick of the imagination or something far more sinister? I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever it was somehow connected to the approaching blizzard, as if it were intended to unleash chaos along with the raging snowfall. As the storm raged on, I couldn't help but wonder if I had truly escaped, or if that eerie figure would haunt my dreams forever. It was a chilling reminder that even in the dark embrace of nature, there are forces we just can't comprehend. The blizzard may have brought isolation and harsh conditions, but the true terror lay in the unknown, leaving me to wonder what secrets the forest held, and if I would ever truly be safe again. That's my experience. Thank you for sharing, Rusty. Ron the Ranger. Story 4. Hello, Rusty. Name's Kai. I wanted to share an experience I had recently that forever changed me and my perception of the outdoors. As I embarked on my solo hike along the Appalachian Trail, I couldn't help but feel a sense of serenity and excitement. The lush greenery of that forest filled my senses, and the crisp air invigorated me with each step. Little did I know that this picturesque setting would soon become a nightmare I couldn't escape. It all began innocuously enough, a momentary distraction as I checked the time on my cell phone. But as I looked up, disorientation consumed me. The trail seemed unfamiliar, the landscape shifted, and I felt a chill working its way down my back. I tried retracing my steps, desperate to find my way back to familiar territory. But no matter how far I walked, it felt as though I was trapped in an eerie time loop. The forest around me morphed and distorted with each loop, taking on sinister undertones. Shapes and shadows danced in the corners of my vision, whispering secrets I couldn't decipher. Every rustle of the leaves sent my heart racing, unsure of what awaited me beyond the trees. In that daunting hour, the forest revealed its true nature. Bizarre phenomena unfolded all around me. Trees twisted and contorted in unnatural forms, as if they were sentient beings watching my every move. Unearthly cries pierced the silence, their origins concealed within the dense foliage. I saw glimpses of figures darting between the shadows, their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. Time stretched thin as the boundary between reality and nightmare blurred. Finally, by a stroke of luck or perhaps sheer will, I stumbled upon a path I hadn't seen before. My feet propelled me forward, fueled by fear and determination, as I raced towards what I hoped would bring me freedom. And as I burst through the tree line onto an open meadow, the time loop shattered like fragile glass. Gasping for air, I collapsed on the grass, the forest behind me eerily silent once again. Though I had escaped the clutches of that sinister loop, the memory of those strange occurrences will forever linger in the depths of my hiker's soul. I returned home a changed man not long after that, and to this day, I'm at a loss for words to describe what occurred out there on that cold December afternoon. Thank you, Kai. Story 5. My name's Juan, and I've been a pilot for over a decade, soaring through the skies without a care in the world. But nothing could have prepared me for that fateful night in February, flying over the remote parts of Washington State. The frigid darkness surrounded my private plane, casting eerie shadows on the ground below. As I navigated through the chilly night, my plane began to behave strangely, shuddering as if in protest against the inky void beyond. The controls grew unresponsive, contradicting my every instinct. Panic coursed through my veins, gradually replacing the confidence I once held so dear. I tried desperately to re-establish communication with the nearby airports. Static filled my headphones. The unsettling absence of any response added an extra layer of fear to the already tense situation. Was I truly alone in this vast expanse of darkness and silence? That's when I saw it. A figure lurking in the back seat. My eyes widened in horror, my body frozen with terror. The silhouette of it was indistinct, barely visible in the dim green glow of the instrument panel. And when our eyes met, time seemed to stand still as a silent understanding passed between us. Without a second thought, I made the decision to land the plane immediately. Even in that cold cabin, sweat dripped from my forehead as I fought the uncooperative controls, desperately attempting to guide my aircraft toward the nearest airport. As the wheels touched the ground, relief washed over me, but a lingering sense of unease remained. Exiting the plane, trembling with equal parts fear and curiosity, I turned to face the back seat. To my astonishment, it was empty. The figure had vanished, leaving behind an inexplicable sense of dread. The subsequent investigation proved fruitless, offering no explanations for the strange events that had transpired. The plane, a newer Cessna 172, never had any issues before, and I am the sole owner. Now, if it were an older plane, I could probably chalk it up to some haunting or bad energy by a former pilot or something. But again, no viable explanation for the experience. And to this day, the memory of that eerie flight haunts my dreams, awakening a primal fear deep within. The remote parts of the Washington State wilderness hold a secret, one that refuses to be divulged, reminding me that there are forces in this world that we can never truly comprehend. All those crazy stories I've heard over the years about pilots seeing and experiencing odd things, well, it doesn't seem so crazy to me now. Anywho, that's my experience. Thank you for sharing, Rusty. I appreciate your work. Best, Juan. And there you have it. May these stories be a reminder that the winter wilderness holds a magic of its own. It is a place where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where our fears intertwine with wonder, and where the line between reality and the supernatural is blurred. In the end, it is these shared experiences that bond us, allowing us to revel in the inexplicable and find solace in the shadows. Thanks for listening, folks, and you'll hear from me soon. Good night.